Yes. Okay. All right. Good evening, everyone. This is the first meeting of the year for the Pompey Town Board. Both an organizational meeting, the first part to start at 6 p.m. followed by hopefully around 6:30 our regular meeting. And I think the first order of business would be to acknowledge that we are still doing our meetings virtually, completely virtually. We still have issues with trying to do audio, sound that would be clear for anybody who wanted to watch virtually if we came to the town hall. And it's just not a safe time to be meeting together anyway. So that said, the governor is still allowing these public meetings to be held with relaxed standards and allowing us to do this remotely for everyone's health and safety by a conference call, as the public can view, listen to the proceedings in real time, and that the proceedings are then memorialized by a recording and transcribed and put on our website. So tonight we are using Zoom account to live stream this meeting, and we're also live streaming it over Facebook. And it will be recorded. It is being recorded, and there will be both the recording and the minutes placed on the town's website. So in attendance tonight, find all of you, our town board members, if you would just acknowledge via wave, Judy McElhennon, Counselor, we just lost Carl Dennis. I don't know where Carl, we lost your video. Can you hear us, Carl?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, if you can get your video back. And Christmas is here by phone. Bob Rodriguez, who's our codes officer, Tim Frateschi, our attorney, Tom Purcell, our town highway superintendent. Are you awake, Tom? You guys have been busy.
That's what I hear.
Yeah. Our accountant, Tom Chartrand, and Nikki Reed, our town clerk, and Veronica Hoteling is on as our web manager, making sure that we technically correctly. So if we could all stand and do the Pledge of Allegiance, I would appreciate it. Turn the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, everyone. Okay. So we're going to get right into the organizational meeting, which is the point in where we get organized for the year and make sure we have all of our ducks in order and the right people in the right positions so that we can function as a government. So with that said, I would like to make the first motion to appoint Baldwin and Frateschi as our attorney for the town for the 2021 calendar year, to be compensated at a rate of $36,000 for the year.
Second it.
I'll second it.
Okay, I think all of you seconded it, so I'm going to go with Judy right now because I heard her first. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you very much.
Yes, Tim, aren't you lucky you get us again for another whole year?
Yes, I am lucky.
But we are lucky because
We are lucky.
had Jamie for another whole year. It's
Appreciate you.
invaluable to us this past year, so thank you.
Thank you.
Carl, I'm going to turn the next part over to you.
Make a motion to adopt the following procedures and policies. Reaffirm the procurement policy, reaffirm the investment policy, reaffirm the scrap metal policy, reaffirm the fee schedule, reaffirm the employee handbook, 6 hours standard workday for part-time elected officials part-time employees, and code enforcement officer approve payment of the postage and utility bills.
I make a motion, we accept it.
Are you seconding it, Judy?
Yes.
Okay, so I just want to double check, Carl, when you said we're going to reaffirm the procurement policy, Tom did send us a revised today because we were talking about the need to sort of bring our limits up to 2020 standards. We've been, in order to make purchases. And Tom, do you want to weigh in on that just for a minute? Before we have just a discussion?
Yeah, we brought the, we didn't change the maximums that are subject to going out to formal bids, which is set by the state. But the baseline for purchase of equipment was way too low at $1,000. It didn't allow us to purchase much of anything. And the same thing with the 3,000 for public works projects. Can't get much done for those amounts. So in order to speed up the small projects like getting a computer or fixing a window or something like that, we've upped the baseline a little bit, but kept the upward limits as strict as they were.
So, so Carl, did you have it? Is that the one we're going to vote on?
Is that right?
The revised version of the procurement policy stays the same, except that we adjusted the minimum limits to raise them a little bit because it's hard to purchase anything.
Yeah, we'll go with the procurement policy as Tom has revised it, yes.
Okay, good. So with that said, Judy, you seconded it?
Yes.
All those, okay, and any other discussion? All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Tim, I did not share that with you because all we did was change the minimum limits. So I hope that's okay.
Yeah, I looked at it. I did look, I did get it today sometime, so
Okay,
I did
okay.
review it.
okay. Anne, you have the
Okay.
next question?
Yep, I'd like to make the following appointments that
Oh,
Eastern Shore.
Anne, do
Yes.
you mind if I interrupt for just a second? I just want to note
No,
we would, Tom Purcell, we would normally approve raises for your highway crew, but because of the contract we just signed, the collective bargaining agreement, and upon discussion with Tim, it wasn't felt that it was necessary to include that anymore. It's not missing, it's just, oh, Tom, that made Tom leave apparently, so.
They made him leave. Oh.
He'll be back.
Well, anyway, so I just wanted to note that, but Ann, no,
okay.
I didn't mean to offend
All
you,
right.
Tom.
Uh,
Go
My
ahead.
phone was ringing. Sorry.
Okay, I'd like to make the following appointments that Eastern Shore Associates will be our broker of record. Arcadis US Inc. is the engineer for the town. NBT Bank and NICLAS is the official banks of the town. The Post Standard to be our legal newspaper. Veronica Hoteling is webmaster, subject to approval of the 2021 letter of engagement. And Net Management would be our IT manager, subject to approval of their 2021 letter of engagement.
Second it.
Carl seconded. Any discussion? I'll just note that the reason the last two are subject to the letter of engagement is because I've requested it, but we haven't received them yet, but it's not their fault because I requested them pretty late. So once we get those, we'll give them to the board and to Tim to review. Other than that, any other discussion? All those?
No.
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Judy, you have the next section.
I make a motion. Okay, I make a motion that the mileage reimbursement for any town business be at 56 cents per mile. Regular meeting date and time of town board will be first Monday of each month, except July, September, and November, when the meetings will be held July 7th, September 1st, and November 3rd, meetings to begin at 6:30.
Second it.
Carl seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion. Ann?
Okay, I would like to appoint Bob Rodriguez as the code enforcement officer to be compensated $32 per hour, not to exceed $21,500 per year. And does Leslie, is that a separate motion? I think it should be.
Yeah, okay, I'll second that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Bob,
Okay,
I don't know how you decided to stay with us all this time, so I just want to thank you. It's been an almost thankless job for you this past year, but good job. Go ahead, Ann.
I would like to appoint Leslie King as Clerk 1 to Code Enforcement Officer to be compensated $13 per hour, not to exceed $3,900 per year.
Second it.
Carl seconded it. Any discussion?
Should we update her name to her married
I
name,
was,
Bob?
I wondered.
Yes, please. I was gonna- It's Leslie Rodriguez.
We will make it Leslie Rodriguez. Thanks, Tom. I wondered about that myself. Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I would like to appoint Nicole Reed as the marriage officer for the town.
Second
I
it.
would second, Carl seconded it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I would like to appoint Deborah Rapp as deputy town clerk to be compensated $14 per hour, not to exceed $7,000 per year.
Second it.
Carl seconds. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
And finally, I would like to appoint Kim Memory and Ken Stevan as court clerks to be compensated $4,500 each per year.
Second it.
Carl seconds. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
I'd like to make a motion to appoint Sue Smith as chairman of the planning board, David Tessier as chairman of the zoning board of appeals, Frank Irwin as chairman of the environmental conservation commission, and Ray Randall as chairman of the board of assessment review, each to receive a stipend of $300 per year.
Second it.
Whoa.
Judy seconds it. Any discussion?
Yes,
Go
I
ahead.
thought that, I'm sorry, I think I thought the Board of Assessment Review got different rates because they only meet once a year.
For the
I
chair?
thought I thought he got 150 and the members got 50 per meeting attended. Tom,
Oh.
is that right, or did we change it?
I think-
This year, we did not have anything set. It just said all board members in 2020 of these special boards received the 150 and the chairs received the 300. And so that's what we paid on the assessment review board this year.
Okay.
Are you okay with that, Ann?
Oh, I'm fine. It was just something
Okay.
different.
Okay. So any other discussion?
No.
Favor? Oh, Judy, did you? Aye.
Aye.
Want to say something, Judy?
No, sweetie, I just, no, I
Okay.
said aye.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Virtual sometimes you don't know when to
Right.
talk and when to be quiet.
Make a motion. Make a motion.
We have to finish this one, Carl. Anyone opposed? Motion carried.
No.
Go ahead, Carl.
Make a motion, each member of the planning board, zoning board, environmental commission will receive a stipend of $150 per year.
I would second that. Any discussion?
No.
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Motion that each member of the Board of Assessment Review will receive a stipend in the amount of $50 per meeting attended.
This was the one I just mentioned that we did 150 this year.
Okay, revising it to 150 per meeting attended.
Per meeting? I thought it was
Or is
50.
that for the whole course?
Per
So
year.
then it's
Per
not
year.
per,
Yeah, per
okay,
year.
So that
150
sh- that-
per year.
okay, so it's 150 per stipend. So it could have been the same, it's the same as the other. Okay, regardless
Correct.
of how many meetings?
Correct.
Okay. Is there any discussion?
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay, Judy. Did you second?
Yeah.
Okay. Any discussion? I probably went out of order. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion carried. I will make a motion to reappoint John Shaheen to the planning board. His term is up this year, but he has indicated a desire to continue, and his new term would expire in 2028.
Second it.
Carl seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. We're going to skip number 16 because although there are candidates, we're not ready to vote on that yet because there's not one in particular to bring to the board for their consideration.
Make a motion to reappoint Kevin Sharp to the Zoning Board of Appeals. Term expires 12/31/26.
Second.
Judy seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
Make a motion to reappoint Frank Irwin, Jeff Barber, Craig Dennis, Mike Niles to the Environmental Conservation Commission. Term expires 12/31/22.
Second.
Who seconded that? Amy seconded it. Any
Ann.
discussion? Favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. Judy?
I make a motion to reappoint Edwin Drexler to the Board of Assessment Review. His term expires 9/30/26.
Second it.
Carl seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I make a motion to appoint Donnie Nuckelbauer for the Board of Ethics, which expires in 12/31/21.
Second it.
Second.
Carl seconded it. Any discussion?
Renee, I have a person that would like to be on that board. Is it now a time to give you a name or no?
Tim?
Jim?
Yeah, I don't know, are there any openings right now?
There are 2 openings on the Board of Ethics.
So then, yes, you could fill that at any time during the year if there are
Okay.
needs.
So Judy, do you have information on this person?
Yes, Alma Hartnett called me today and said she would like to be on it, but I said I would ask.
Okay.
I think that
Well-
you should get the details and then we can consider it at some other meeting.
Okay,
Yeah.
thank you.
No, that's fine. I appreciate the, we don't have a lot of vacancies this year to fill, unlike last year. So it's a good position to be in where we can
Okay,
set up next month.
okay, thanks.
And find another person and fill that spot.
Okay, I make a motion. Ready for the next one? Okay, I make a motion.
Have we voted on Don Nugebauer as a Board of Ethics member?
I don't think so.
We did.
No, we have.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried.
I make a motion to appoint Donna Allnut as secretary to planning board to be compensated for $100 per meeting attended, up to a maximum of $1,200 per year.
I would second that. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 I
Opposed?
make,
Motion carried.
I make a motion to appoint Donna Allnut as secretary to the zoning board to be compensated for, $80 per meeting attended, up to $960 per year.
Second it.
Carl seconded it. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So I just want to say before I move on to the next section that, that the operated so professionally and well and adjusted to the virtual setting last year. And I just want to commend them all. I'm so impressed with their work ethic and their ability to work together and reach decisions. And Donna has been great with the minutes, taking the minutes and getting them timely out. So just want to extend my thanks to all the members that, and especially the chairs who have been very helpful. And my goal this year is to get our ECC board, our Environmental Conservation Commission, proactive, so that we're doing, there's certainly things we could be doing. So was my intention last year, a few other priorities. So hopefully we'll get to that this year. That said, I want to move on and appoint Megan Campbell as the swim program director to be compensated at $2,700 for the season.
Second it.
Carl seconds it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Second it.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. So the swim program fees, I think we're going to need to take a minute on this one because if you recall, board members, when we went through our budget workshops and the processes, we determined that we could not continue to offer the swim program free of charge to town residents. And so we came up with a schedule for that, as well as a schedule, a revised schedule for both the intermunicipal agreement arrangements we have with Fabius and Lafayette for students to take advantage of the swim. And then as well, non-residents want to also take advantage of the swim program. And the reason we determined that is because of the cost of the program to the town and the fact that it's not that it's not a beneficial program. It's absolutely essential that kids learn how to swim. But there are approximately 200 kids or so that participate in this program. And the program costs us about $32,000 or $33,000, right, Tom? So the math on that, and you figure out how much we're paying per child to participate in the program, and it's on the taxpayers tab. We determined that we needed to ask some of those who are going to take part, basically a user fee in the program in the town, to participate or to contribute. So what we came up with, and I'm going to ask the board to vote on this, ask for a motion. I'm going to make a motion to in a minute, but what we came up with was that for town residents, the first child would pay a registration fee of $40. The second child would pay a registration fee of $30. If there's a child, that would be a $20 fee. And if there's more than 3 children in a family, you would be capped at $100 total for any children that wanted to participate in the program. We also determined that we would set registration for Tom, I want to make sure, because we were talking about this today, the Fabius and Lafayette agreements and the non-residents would all pay a similar rate that would be, and that's where I want to make sure I've got it right. The rate was,
My budget shows that it was $75 per person. There was no discount for second, family member, or any of the other things like we're doing it for the residents.
Okay,
Anyone that's an outside user, whether it's the intermunicipal or someone from a surrounding town, would pay the $75
Okay.
for each student.
okay, that's what I thought, but we talked about a few things and I just want to make sure we got it right. So I would make first of all, I would make a motion that we adopt a registration fee schedule for town residents of $40 for the first child, $30 for the second, if there is, and $20 for the third, if there is. And after that, $100 maximum and $75 per child for anyone outside of Pompey.
I second it.
Judy seconds it. Is there any discussion on this, board members? Does
I
anyone?
agree.
It's come to that. It's got to happen.
Yes.
Okay, I want to give everybody an opportunity to be heard because I know that this will not sit well with some people, but no one offers free swimming lessons anymore, except for maybe, I think, Tom, you said has a program.
Town of Tully still offers free swimming programs.
But almost no one else does. And when Sheila, who can't be here tonight because she has a family issue, but when she did some research on this and when she looked it up, she came, the Jewish Community Center offers swimming lessons at $51.50 a lesson. 4 lessons at a time for $206. And she checked out the Y and it's $40 per hour per lesson. So when you consider what we're asking for 15 lessons, because I think it's 3 weeks of 5 days a week, 15 lessons for this amount, it's really minimal in comparison. And you couldn't find this very many other places other than maybe Tully. So Judy seconded it. Is that drawing a blank. All those in favor?
Aye.
Motion carried. Thank you, board members. Carl, I checked with today. He still wants to be the deputy supervisor, so I will, and these don't need, do these need board approval? Tim, or I just,
Sure. Your appointment.
It is your appointment, but it never hurts to get board
make
approval.
sure yeah, I agree.
But
Second it.
Other than Carl. Although you could weigh in on this, Carl, if you want. Do I have a motion? Who made a motion?
I make a motion, we accept Carl Dunn as the deputy supervisor.
Yes.
Second.
He's been very helpful this year, so Carl, I really appreciate it. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carried. Likewise, one I have not been able to live without, and he probably would like to live without me because I call him so much. But I would like also, I'm going to appoint Tom Chartrand as our accountant, part-time, to be compensated at $20,510 a year. And as budget officer to be compensated at $4,500 a year. Do I have the board's
Second.
approval? Okay, thanks.
Yep.
Ann. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And then finally, appoint Ruth Hotel as historian to be compensated at $1,780 a year.
Second.
Second.
I heard Carl first, sorry, Ian. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. And Carl, last but not least, you bring up the last section here.
Make a motion to authorize the following: 500,000 bond for supervisor and town clerk, 50,000 bond for all others. Highway superintendent to spend up to 8,000 without prior approval. Petty cash fund of $125 for town clerk and tax collector. Petty cash fund of $125 for justice court supervisor to spend up to 1,000 without prior approval.
All right,
Second.
Judy seconds it. Any discussion on this? All in favor?
Aye.
Judy,
I'm sorry.
did you say aye? Did you vote?
Aye, yes, I'm sorry. Aye, yes.
Aye.
Opposed, motion carried.
Renee, there was one motion we used to make years ago authorizing the supervisor to pay the postage and utilities in advance.
Yeah. That was in number 5, wasn't it?
Was it a number? Let me go back up. Maybe I missed it when I was skimming through.
The last bullet there, approved prepayment of postage.
Postage, and okay, so I guess we're all
Okay.
right. The one
I could
thing,
have,
yeah,
is there
the only
anything
other
else,
one that
Tom?
we've been having a problem with is the health insurance bills. They come after the meeting, and technically we have to pay them before the end of the month. If it'd be okay to amend that or add a resolution adding to pay, that you can pay the health insurance bills.
Make a motion authorizing the payment of the health insurance bills.
Second it.
Second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed, motion carried. Those are a little bit more, or bigger bills than utility or postage. though.
Yeah, that's why I'd like that one authorized when you sign that big check.
Yeah.
Is that a prepayment?
Yes.
I'm gonna have to do a little bit of looking into that, but we'll do the motion tonight, and there's only certain things you can prepay. So
Right.
I'll
Usually insurances are covered by that.
okay.
Okay. Double check and make sure we're doing it by the book. And Tim, you did see that the only thing that in the engagement letter that was off.
I changed it.
Yeah, thank you.
I sent everybody a new page today.
Oh, sorry, I didn't see that today. Okay, does anyone need a break? Or are we gonna just?
Nope.
Good to go, move on.
Go for it.
The regular meeting, I'm not gonna go through the, done the pledge, and the COVID rules continue to apply to this meeting as well. Where did I put mine? Here it is. So I think we'll start right off with Tom's report.
Okay. As you know, this is the month we don't get the full report. I did send it out to you to look at in draft form, but most of the bills would go against that. So on the receipts and disbursements, it was a pretty good month for us. We got a couple of nice checks in that we weren't totally expecting. Our Justice Court came in a little bit stronger, but we're still about 12,000 short of budget year to date on that line. But some of these other ones have helped. Franchises came in, we're up a few $1,000s on that budget line, which was good. I think a lot of people have been signing on for it since they've upgraded the system. We were expecting our state aid, the AIM, to come in at 80%. It came in at 100% of what we had budgeted. So that was great news. And our mortgage tax came in just huge for us. I think a lot of people were doing refis. So in the end, our general fund revenues are about a positive 89,000 to what we had budgeted. So very good for us. Our current spending before the bills tonight, we're about around 233,000 under budget on spending. Some of those items we've rolled forward though as well. So we'll be using some of those. Highway fund, we still haven't received the last CHIPS check for the work that was done later on in the season. So we're currently about $45,000 short on revenue in the highway. But our spending is way down in the highway as well. We're 272,000 below on our spending. So we're in great shape there overall. I think that's all I have to tell you. I'll give you a lot more detail on the finalized spending and everything next month when we have the full report.
I'll tell you something, as hard as this year has been, Tom, I am so grateful to everyone for really adhering to trying to limit our spending in a way that would help us going forward, because it's not been easy, and revenue has just been a big question mark. Not sure.
Yeah, terrible.
So
Make a motion, we accept the town supervisor's monthly statement for December.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is Ann on?
I'm on,
Oh,
yeah,
okay. Did you vote, Ann? I didn't hear it.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Opposed? Motion carried.
I'll make a motion, we accept the bank reconciliations and monthly reports for the supervisor, clerk.
Second it.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried.
Make a motion, payment of bills be done.
Second,
Any discussion? I do have a quick question for Tom on the pension, the retirement. That's for what year?
That is our payment for the period that ended last March 31st. So March 31st ended, it takes them almost a year to get the billing out to us, and then we pay it. And so, you know, we're
That's
almost,
for 4/1/19 to 3/31/20, is that?
yes.
Okay. I knew there was some lag. I just.
It's a big
It's a
one.
big bill. Yeah, it's a big bill. Okay. Any other discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carried. And you did year-to-date for us, and I asked my questions, so we're on to Nikki, clerk's report.
All right, if everyone had the chance to read through the December 7th, 2020 regular meeting minutes and the December 28th, 2020 special meeting minutes, I'm looking for a motion to accept. those
Motion that
minutes.
we accept the December 7th and December 28th special meeting minutes.
Second.
I'll second it.
I think Judy got you in before you, Ann, so Judy seconded it. Any discussion? Other than I just want to say, Nikki, really good job. The December 7th meeting minutes,
It was a long.
and you had a quick turnaround on the 28th, so thank you.
Good job.
Good
Thank
job.
you. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Amazing.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. And Nikki, I just put tax season update on there just so you could emphasize how things are, let us know how things are going and emphasize how you want things done.
Yeah, well, as we said in the last meeting, we're full swing tax season up here. So we did send a letter to residents asking them to mail in their tax payments, or if they want to come up in person, to utilize the drop box that the highway guys were nice enough to install for us. And that has been a huge success. We've collected over $700,000 in the last 3 business days that we've been here. It's
Wow.
crazy. Almost all of that has been through the mail. I've been keeping track. I've had 25 payments to the Dropbox, and 5 residents have come into the building with cash to pay their taxes. So really, the majority of all of these tax payments are through the mail. So I do want to
Right.
thank all of the residents for being so cooperative during COVID, because it's very challenging, and we really appreciate everything.
Good. I'm glad
Good
to
job.
hear it, because I know we were wondering how this would go over, because a lot of people have the habit and are used to just being able to come into town hall, pay their taxes, go talk to Larry Fitz about their exemptions, and that's just all curtailed this year.
Right.
So good to hear.
Yeah, we are still by appointment. So we have signs up. We're still encouraging you to make an appointment if you have to come in. But otherwise, everything's going very well up here.
And check the website for updates.
Great. Good job, Nikki.
Yeah.
Great.
Tom, other than the fact that your poor crew had to work on New Year's Eve, and I saw them go by my house yesterday afternoon, I'm just wondering what else you got to report. So bad for them.
Yeah, Friday, New Year's Day night was a long night with the freezing rain. Nobody likes the freezing rain. It's always really good to be on top of that. So I think we came in at 6 o'clock that night. We finished up at 1:30 in the morning. Went home, got a couple hours sleep, and we were back plowing by 5 o'clock in the morning. So it was a long night. So other than that, we have so far, it's hard to believe, but we've already made 42 trips this season.
Oh my
29 of
God.
them were in December. 8 was in November, and we've already done 5 so far in January. So, but things are going well
Good.
so far.
Equipment holding
That's all I
out?
have. What's that?
You said, is your equipment holding out?
Well, the Friday night, we had 2 trucks break down, so we had to fix them before we left for the next morning, but
When you
thank
say
God we had the
breakdown,
parts and stuff. What's that?
when you say breakdown, what do you mean by that? Welding out?
We had one hydraulic hose failure in one truck, which was from front to back, so it was fun to change. And the other one was just an air hose on one of the brakes, so. Well, we fortunate enough, we have the equipment in-house to fix and make hydraulic hoses, so we could do that in-house, so it worked out well.
Good.
So,
Very thankful.
Thanks,
that's
Tom.
all I have.
Okay. Bob,
Hello, good evening.
good evening.
All right, as far as the permits, to date, we've done, for the year 2000, we've done 118 permits. And we took in fees, we took in $16,281 for those permits. People, I hate to say this, but the COVID thing was a good thing for us because people stayed home and spent money on their houses versus traveling. 10 new houses in the area. I thought it was a good year for, this department.
What's that?
My phone, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah, and I think that's borne out, your numbers by what Tom Chartrand, we got from our mortgage
Yeah.
tax. I mean, just really, really high, and if could be a benefit from COVID for.
Yeah, I don't want to look at it that way, but yeah, we did good. We are working on cleaning up the town in a way. Tim will speak more on this, but due to courts being canceled, which I was a little disappointed in finding out today, but we are continuing and cleaning up the town. There's a few residents that we are really working hard to get things straightened around. It's areas cleaned up. We've had a lot of complaints, and we are working on this. I just want the community to know that we are not letting things go. We are following up on them, and we will continue to follow them, follow up on it.
Yeah, and COVID again has had some impact on that, right?
Yes.
It's the courts being closed, but even just if you have a tenant who is the problem, not being able to get rid of them. And we have a couple properties right next door to the town hall that are in that category where there's tenants that are the problem and you can't evict. So it's a very, very difficult situation, and neighbors are frustrated, and we get that. And
People have to understand it's a slow process for us, and we are not going to stop following up on these. I just want people to know that.
I appreciate it. For the people that take care of their properties, I'm grateful for what you're doing. And Tim, do you want to add anything on the codes violation we've got pending in court?
I did speak to the defendant today, just to see where he was on the status of cleaning up the property. He indicated to me that he has done more work than what we talked about at the last meeting. I talked to Bob today, and there's still a significant amount of work that needs to be done. But our court date was for tomorrow, but of course that's been canceled. So I think we'll be into February. So I will continue to follow up with him to make sure that he meets the court's directive to clean that property up.
Okay, thank you.
Good.
Tim, if you don't mind, I took you off the agenda because I wasn't thinking we had much to, that we discussed and we figured that was good, but then I realized, do you want to talk briefly about this mandatory emergency plan that the town has to come up with?
Sure.
That's something new and we're going to have to address it. And as you said, it's a lot of language.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to look into it.
Yeah. So the governor has required through executive order that every town, every municipality come up with a plan to address emergency situations related to COVID. Now, we all did what we were supposed to do, and that was basically our plan in the town, and determining who was essential, determining when town hall should be open. But like everything else with New York, it becomes a much more complicated and complex type of approach to a plan. So we have to develop a plan by April 1st. It's got to be a written plan. And there are templates we can use from the Association of Towns. But like I said, they're very in-depth, and they don't take into account towns the size of Pompey versus towns the size of, Westchester, towns in Westchester and Long Island, which have huge, staffs of hundreds of people. So, but we'll work on that through the course of the next month to get something in place, and we will share that when it's completed.
Okay, and hopefully whatever is out there, we don't have to reinvent the wheel. And the county town supervisors group association that I am part of also is trying to do something along the lines of everybody being able to use the same plan or like slight variations of it, but I'm hoping it's not going to be as like a major project. That's my hope. Anne?
Yep.
Were you going to wait? Were
Yes.
you saying?
Oh, I wasn't gonna, I'm just listening.
Well, you lit up on the screen.
I did?
Yeah, you did.
You did.
Sorry.
Anyway, thanks, Tim. I just figured I might as well let them know we're gonna have to take a look at that, but hopefully it will, even though I think it might turn out to be a fairly lengthy plan, that I'm hoping it won't be controversial, if at all.
I don't feel it'll be controversial. I just think it's going to take some time to put together.
Okay. Lovely. Yeah. So my report. The first thing I wanted to mention, for anybody who was not on the December 28th call or listening in, and there might not have been very many people. I don't think there were very many according to Veronica, but I just want people to know that we've been waiting and waiting for the study to come back on a speed reduction request for Sweet Road, and we finally got a response from the state, which is state DOT has to weigh in on this. And miracles, they are agreeing to reduce the speed on Sweet Road to 45 miles per hour, coming out of the 30-mile-per-hour zone. So that's what the letter said. There is an order to follow that letter that will give us the details. The only place I know of on Sweet Road that's 30 miles an hour is in the hamlet of Pompey Hill. So I am presuming that 45 mile per hour speed reduction zone is going to be coming from that hamlet and going into it. And I can only hope that it goes far enough to really take care of the safety concerns that the people on that road have had. So it is a miracle because really the state rarely reduces the speed, rarely honors a speed reduction request. So that's good news. Board members, I sent you a certificate showing you what needs to be filled out, and I think it's filled out by Nikki, the town clerk, appoints someone to be the delegate to the Association of Towns Annual Business Session, which usually occurs at their New York City meeting in February, I think, but this year the whole thing is being held virtually. So, and then that appointment would authorize somebody to attend that virtual session and also vote if there was a need to vote on something. So I know last year I was tagged to do it. I will do it again if that's what you want, but I wanted to offer it to anyone else that might be interested.
It's all yours.
So if by default you want me to do it, somebody needs to make a motion. If somebody wants to do it, well, I welcome that.
Make a motion,
I'll
Renee,
make a
be the
motion.
delegate to the town association meeting by virtual.
Okay,
Second.
Thanks a lot, Carl.
You need one more thing.
Ian seconded it. Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried. Nikki, you have that certificate? Yes, okay. Good. Tom Purcell, I got a request and I forwarded it to you from John and Patty Feeney on Citation Road, asking for us to consider, they heard that we were going to transition to LED lighting and wondered if in the course of that there would be any consideration, not that they're completely related, but I get why they're bringing it up because lighting is lighting, consideration for putting a street light at the corner of Citation and 20 and Citation and Gardner. They were looking at both ends of that. I have not had a chance to look into this. I don't know if there is reason to be concerned about the safety there. It certainly is it's a little development there, but I'm just wondering, since it's not a speed issue, is it, but it also involves Route 20, what we need to do to look into that.
What I know, as far as I know, it is a board decision. Tim probably knows this answer better than I do. And so I'm really not sure how we go about it, other than reaching out to the National Grid, but.
Are there other lights in that area? No. We would have to contact National Grid, get a sense of how much it's going to cost, and you'd actually have to create a lighting district. No?
Probably not on this one, Tim, because it's a street corner light. So if it's at a street corner, it's paid for by the town in general. If it was yes. If it was lining down Citation Drive in the middle between the corners, it would need a lighting district. But the town has many, many street corner lights, and those are the ones we're transitioning to the LEDs.
Well, okay, that may be the case, but we'd have to contact National Grid to see if we can.
I was thinking I would reach out to Pompey Hill Fire Department just to see, like, in terms of like concerns they have with that area as well. But I also wondered, there's a big difference between the corner of Citation and 20 and Citation and Gardner.
Right.
I'm not sure, do we need both ends of that road?
Route 20 is a dangerous spot. That's where we need it.
That's what I was thinking, Carl.
Yeah, just Route 20.
All right, well, let's reach out to National Grid. I'll figure out who that is. I'm not quite sure.
I don't hit those roads. Is there already a pole there, Tom, at both ends, or would we need to have a new pole added too?
The pole on Route 20 is a little bit away from the intersection, but I believe it's probably within reach, I guess, but there is one there.
There's already a pole?
Yes.
Yes.
All right, well, let's look into it and see how much it costs, and we'll revisit it. But we did get a request, so.
David Hess, that you've been working with the LED lighting on, would be the person to reach out to.
Start right with the LED there, yeah.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, that would be a good idea. Okay, Thank you. I just want to give an update on health insurance options. When we discovered during the budget process that our insurance rates were going up by 15% with our current carrier, I said to Tom Chartrand, that's not acceptable. And I said, let's start looking. So we have put feelers out to an insurance agent who has come back with 3 different options for us to consider. What we don't know though is, and what we haven't got yet, and Tom, I was able to send him the summary of our plan and some numbers. But what we don't have yet is trying to figure out which of the 3 plans compares to the one that we currently have, because that's what we would want to compare. We're not looking to reduce benefits. We're not looking to really change much if we can avoid it, obviously. And we just want to see what the market has to offer other than a 15% increase in our insurance rates. So to be continued. I just wanted to bring that up in time. Anything to add to that?
The highest plan, actually, the numbers are very similar to what we're paying now. Not being a real authority on these plans, that's why I asked for the agent to do a comparison to our plan. The only real advantage in these plans, even though the rates are pretty similar for the family and single, they offer subscriber and spouse and subscriber and children that are a lower rate than the family. We pay family whether it's 2 people or 10 people. So that way we would have a savings by transitioning the 2-person families into a lower 2-person rate away from a family rate. But the rates on the top plan aren't really much different than what we're paying.
So that's very encouraging to hear. And the only glitch in all of this will be having to pay down the debt that we currently have with our current carrier, which when you're part of a cooperative, it seems to me that all those involved in the cooperative share in the good times and in the bad. But this cooperative, you're on your own when you have debt, which doesn't feel much like a cooperative. So that is why we are currently in the hole, because we incurred some significant health costs, and that we're on our own to pay for them, even though we're part of this cooperative. So, and I think that factored into the increase in the insurance rate relative to some of the others in this cooperative plan. So I just bring that up for everyone's information, because it just seems like the time to start reconsidering. We reconsidered other insurances last year, and I think maybe health insurance is the one to reconsider this year. So stay tuned, board members. We'll get you information as it comes in. Where'd my list go? So unfortunately, we were supposed to have a public hearing tonight on the solar farm overlay district local law. That is being postponed because number one, there was a realization at the last minute that a key provision had not been included. So that needed to be included. It needed to go to county planning, which was done today. Right? Nod. And for their comments, county planning weighs in on something like this. And then we thought we'd give 3-day notice, but it turns out we should have needed to give 5-day notice. And so for all those reasons, and quite honestly, I think it's a blessing in disguise, because I really do believe that this type of a public hearing deserves its own time. So my proposal to this board is for us not to wait until February, but to schedule it for a day certain in this month of January, where we could, that would be the only thing that we would be considering is the public hearing. So that would give us plenty of time. That would allow John Shaheen to do a presentation, PowerPoint on the local law itself as the chair of the committee that drafted it. And it would give the community plenty of time and opportunity to be heard. It would have to be virtual, but we knew in December that we were going to hold it virtually. So I'm just wondering, as far as dates, board members, unless anybody thinks that we should wait till February, I would prefer not. I think we could still be on target with county planning back with their comments to be ready to proceed at that point. So I would rather do it this month sometime unless there's this compelling reason not to. Anyone?
What date are we considering?
Well, I really hadn't gotten to that point because I wanted to see what, if anybody was strongly opposed or not. I definitely would want Tim and to be available. So, and Bob. But I'm open to suggestions. I'm worried that next Monday is too soon. And get it advertised and noticed, and I want to make sure people know about it. But next Monday would work because the zoning board, I don't believe, if Nikki and Bob tell me otherwise, has any business to conduct.
You can't do it next Monday. You don't have enough time to notice.
Okay, I didn't think
Go to
so.
the 18th, if the planning board's not meeting.
We could do it then if the planning board's not meeting.
That's
Well,
Martin
the
Luther
18th is
King
Martin
Day.
Luther King Day.
Yep. Get that.
We don't have to do it on a Monday. The courts aren't meeting, so we could do it on a Tuesday. But I don't know if I don't know who's available. We are so
How about the 19th?
19th Tuesday.
Tuesday, the 19th.
Yeah.
Tim, are you available?
I think I am, yes.
Is anybody not available that is key to being to what, Judy?
Tom Chartrand said he's not available.
You're not?
No, I have another meeting that night.
Okay.
But I don't think you need me for a solar law. So.
I'm not sure it's essential to have Tom there. I'm more concerned if we didn't have Tim or Bob, maybe Tom Purcell if he needed something highway, but or the board members, but it's not really a financial issue. And if anything comes up that way, I can always discuss. We can always reach out to you at some point. But other than Tom Chartrand, I think that would work. So I would make a motion to schedule a public hearing on the solar farm local law, the solar farm overlay district local law for Tuesday, January 19th of this year. 6:30 board,
6:30.
6 o'clock, which
6 o'clock?
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock.
Second the motion.
Thank you, Carl. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carried.
You skipped over a resolution to conduct justice court audit.
Oh, you know what? I crossed it off. You're right, I did, Carl. And I crossed it off on mine because we don't need to address that tonight. So I reread the letter again, and it's not due till sometime in March, and that's when we would need to do the resolution, once we have it done. So update on the cell towers. Stan Gorman was on our call last month and very concerned, rightfully so, as he lives next door to the Sevier Road cell towers. And I just want to update everybody on what we've done since then. Ann Christmas has been very helpful in determining who actually pays and if I get this wrong, tell me, we've come up with a list of all of the owners of those towers that pay taxes to the town.
Right.
Is that correct? Okay.
That's correct.
Okay, and there are some, I gave 8 or 9 of them on that list. Most, all of them except for one are on Sevier Road. There's one on Indian Hill. I was up there because Ann told me there was a Verizon truck and I happened to live, I was home and I happened to live around the corner. So I ran over there and was able to get really good information. Just the doing repairs on the tower. I took some pictures. We got some FCC numbers. We've got some. We've got a list of who's got towers up there, and our intention is to send a letter to each and every one of those companies, asking for information on their tower, including what they've got on it, what they've added to it, who else they've given permission to put something on what their tower can, apparently that, and I did read our code and it does look like that's allowed. They're allowed to do that. And then what else has been put on by someone else. And there's 2 reasons for that. One is we should be doing an inventory. We should know what are on those towers, and that hasn't been done. But secondly, it affects their assessment, their tax assessment, to know if they've improved or enhanced those towers and they're worth more, then they should be assessed accordingly. So that's where we're at with it. I drafted up a letter. Tim, I want to share it with you. I know I brought this up to you about really wanting to get involved in the cell tower issue. I want the ECC to get involved in this, the Environmental Conservation Commission. I think it's a perfect project for them.
Yes, I agree.
It's right up their alley, and there's a lot of good factual information they could track down. And so, and we really do need to look at when the last time was that the town did do the radio frequency testing. It doesn't look to me like it's been fully done. It was an abbreviated version of it in, was it 2019, Tom Chartrand? Yeah, but there wasn't sufficient funds apparently to do that. So it was put off the full-blown testing. But there's also some provisions in our code that relate to the town being given notice when certain events occur relative to the towers, whether it is routine maintenance or whether they're enhancing or adding features to the tower. So that's where I'm not clear, Tim, on what it is we truly, I don't know even if they'll respond to a request, but I think if we can cite the provisions in our code that relate to this and then follow up if we're not getting responses. I just feel like this has been neglected. There's not been any to what's on these towers, and there should be. So that's the plan, is to do this inventory and try and get some information out of the companies that have towers up there.
Excellent job, Renee and Ann.
Yeah, Ann really, she's like a bloodhound. She tracks down information.
She's good.
She does. So we've made some significant progress. It just remains to be seen how cooperative the owners of the towers are. I was surprised, really surprised at how many are up there. And for anybody who drives by and see a Verizon truck up there, don't assume it's Verizon that is doing something. They get contracted to repair a lot up there. So when I went up the day that I went up, they had been called by the 911 center in the county to go up because one of the features on their tower that belonged to the railroad company, I don't know which railroad company, was malfunctioning. So they get called to do the repairs. So it's not Verizon always that's like, they do a lot of the maintenance. So that's just for public consideration, because I know sometimes we assume it's Verizon that But there's a lot of things up there that look like they haven't been used in a long time. And I do believe our statute requires them to be taken down as well. So decommissioned or whatever you call it. But so we're looking into it and we'll see where we go. But I wanted the board to know that that's what's happening. And again, it's one of those to be continued. Any questions, board members? Anyone else?
Nope.
Okay.
Good job.
Well, we're trying, but
That's what counts.
yeah. Thanks, Judy. So the last item on the agenda, again, it's a continued discussion on the mass event idea, the assembly or mass gathering, I guess I should say, or assembly.
That's good.
And I'll just tell you what I've done on that since we last met. I've had some discussions with some of the town residents about the fact that, and I really do believe that there is a very, very much a difference of opinion, and I think I said this last time, about what perceptions are of the protections that Ag and Markets Law provides farms and agricultural ventures. And Carl, you can feel free to weigh in on this as a farmer. And right, wrong, or indifferent, I definitely think I've heard both people say, oh, that's allowed. And I've heard other people say, well, that's definitely not allowed. That's agriculture. That's not agriculture. So I've also been concerned about that relative to this mass gathering permit situation. I think the two are related because I think what's happening is we're beginning to see businesses grow out of our agricultural properties, and it's creating some conflict in the communities and in the town in general. And I think that it behooves us to figure it out. So I went and researched on e-codes and found a number of other towns in the state, and I'm going to give them all to Tim, that have mass gathering
Permits.
permit laws or special event permit laws. And they're all over the place. There's no, some of them are similar, but they're also very different. So I think we need to have a discussion and let the community weigh in and be heard. First of all, we need to get clear on what is and is not allowed with Ag and Markets Law, what the right to farm means. But then secondly, I think we also need to determine what oversight does the public want the town to have when events occur. And that has never really been a concern before, but it is becoming one now. And so I think that if we can take a look at some of these mass gathering local laws, maybe pull some provisions that we think would apply or get rid of the ones we think are not going to be applicable to our town. I would love the public, if anybody in the community thinks they would like to look at these laws, to weigh in on this, and more than just coming to this virtual setting and maybe posting a comment or whatever, please contact me at the town hall. It's supervisor@townofpompey.org. It's also on the website, but I would welcome a public discourse on this. I think it's, I see this brewing and I see it dividing the town, and I don't think that it has to do that. I think there's a lot of commonality on both sides, and I think we could easily, not easily perhaps, but I think we could come to a consensus, and that's my hope. So having said that, that is just about, that's all I have for tonight. And I don't know if anybody wants to comment on anything I've said about this, but it's been brewing for a while, and I think it's time to sort of take a look at it. So Tim, I'll be sending you my packet And I'll share it probably with Bob Rodriguez too. Lucky.
Yeah, and I'll look at it. Sometimes it's, if we're going to have a discussion, it's easier to discuss a document. Oh,
Okay, yes, I agree.
I could
This
put
is more
together,
for ideas.
yeah,
Like I just pulled these, not to, like, I would like to come up with some concepts that we think would work in the town of Pompey and present them to the public.
right.
But I also really do believe we should have we should get some, and it could, I mean, we could do, I don't know, Tim, if you feel like you would be the one, or if you know someone to do a presentation on the right to farm and on the ag and markets law and what it does and does not protect.
Yeah.
And, one of our town residents offered or suggested last month to bring in somebody from ag and markets. We could do that. We could also bring somebody in from the Farmland Preservation Trust Agency because they are definitely a factor in this situation. So, but they're really two separate things that, you know, the agriculture, the whole, like, what can you do with agriculture, but because they're the agribusiness has sort of jump-started this discussion. I think that it would be wise for us to do both.
Those are excellent ideas, ag and markets and preservationists. Yes.
So maybe we could do like an informational session that would be virtual. So it could be more like a webinar for the town, for people to attend. Judy?
Yeah, can I just ask can you take residential property and turn it into ag? Is that in a small community, can you do that?
Well,
Curious.
if somebody wanted to change a zone change, they would have to come before this board. Any zone change that would be allowed would be authorized by a local law of the town board.
And we haven't done that yet, right, Tim, up in Pompey? Okay, thank you. That was a question. One of my, a resident called and asked me that question yesterday. So, thank you. I appreciate it.
Okay. So, again, this is a to be continued, but I really am going to continue to talk to town people and try and get some connections. I would like to pull Dave Knapp in because I think he would be a good resource for this. And so
He
if
could take
nobody
his
else,
expertise from the Apple Festival. Having been chairman of that for years, he can bring expertise from what they laid out, what
Yes.
they, for example.
and Lafayette does have a mass gathering or I forget what they exactly call their,
Right,
but they do have one
right.
to require a town permit. And I think probably because of the Apple Festival.
Yeah, yeah, I think you talked.
So, so public comment. And I will, this is the point where I turn the meeting basically over to Veronica. And the only caution I would have for public comment is to remind people that you will need to state your name and your general location in the town. Your road is good enough. And if we could make sure that everyone gets a chance to speak that wants to before anybody gets a second turn, I would appreciate it. If there's even any interest in speaking tonight.
Yes, Renee, I just want to be sure I'm doing this correctly. So there have been.
You're asking me about.
I guess it's a question for Renee and probably Tim. There have been comments coming in throughout the meeting. So how do you?
In my opinion is those don't count because it's not public comment time. And that is not how we would do it if we were live, and we're not going to, the banter between people on social media is not public comment. That would be my feeling, but Tim, I would defer to you.
That's true. We have a specific section of our agenda that's set aside for public comment. Now is the time if people want.
Okay.
Comment.
So I guess I would just encourage the board to read any comments that have come in on Facebook after the meeting, if you care to see what has been coming forth. And there's been one chat one chat on Zoom that you guys can read. Make sure you read it before you leave Zoom, because I don't know, I think it's saved, but to be safe, make sure you read it before you exit Zoom.
Well,
So-
there's
Go ahead, Tim.
one chat now.
Yes,
Is that part of public comment?
Yes, yes.
that came in earlier.
Well, it just showed up again at 7:23.
Oh, okay. And I see it too.
Okay, so she is adding that as part of public comment. So the question is there scholarship or financial aid possibility with regard to the swimming lessons?
Well, I think that's what the town covering the cost was considered. But as far as, I don't know the answer to that outside. I mean, I can say from the town, no, there isn't. But as far as private or other sources, we do swimming lessons at Cass College. Who even knows if Cass College is going to let us do them next summer? Hopefully they will. But we can pursue that. We can look into that. But I don't know of any, no. Does anybody else know?
No,
There's never been.
Tran?
I would think it would be considered a gift of public funds if we are using town funds to
Yeah.
specifically address an individual. I think there might be problems with that.
Yes.
Anything else, Veronica?
I have to, yeah, I have to see what has come in most recently. And if anyone is on Zoom and wants to raise their hand to speak, now is the time to do that. And let me check Facebook right now. From James Loomis. And there's no, Renee, there's no location that they're listing. This is just a name. So I think
Okay.
for the next meeting, I think we need to state at the beginning of the meeting to save all their comments for the end and to include their location in their comment.
Right.
Yeah, I think you're right. We're learning.
Yep. So, oh, he's just typed in I think he's saying James Loomis, number 4 road.
Okay.
Charging.
He spoke last month too.
Okay. Charging for the swim program only prevents poor kids from learning to swim. Sad is the comment.
Wrong.
Did you hear that? Okay.
Yes. No, I said he's not wrong about that.
Yeah. Budgets. Greg Hurley, charging residents for the swim program is a terrible idea. One life saved by this program is worth every penny the town spends. A great number of residents in the town of Pompey pay town taxes and get zero services. I'm sorry to see this. I don't think he finished his comment. Probably, I'm sorry to see this go. Samantha. Oh, go ahead.
No, I'm just thinking, because this was not an easy decision for the board to make. And we knew that it was a tough decision. It's a tough year all the way around. And the only thing I'm thinking about is perhaps there could be some sort of fund started to cover the costs for kids that, or families that don't have the means. And I'm just throwing that out there again. We have a whole community of people. And I would donate to that fund.
Me
So
too.
I'm just saying that it could be, if there could be a private source for that exact purpose.
Good idea, Renee.
Just saying. There's another comment on there on Zoom. Oh, no. Oh, is it from Town of Pompey? No.
Here's one, Samantha Shapus. Why are our taxes going up if we are below budget?
Oh, that is such a complicated question that I would really like Tom to answer, because he'll do a better job of explaining it than I will, because it's a very good question.
When we were developing the budget, we had to assume that we weren't getting some of the big items like the state aid, the mortgage tax, and that we were going to be very short on our revenue stream coming in this year. And we also, we're trying to save all year long, but we never know at the end of the year if there's going to be a large expenditure. So we budget as if the worst case scenario and hope for the best case scenario.
Sums it up.
Yes, and hopefully the fact that we did better than expected, because we were being conservative in our spending this year and in assuming what we would get for revenue, hopefully that will help us, hopefully, next budget cycle. So thanks, Tom.
Regarding the swimming from Greg Hurley, where was this decision shared with the public during the budget process?
Go back to the budget hearing videos. I think we video, yeah. It's completely contained within our budget hearing. For anybody that was on those virtual meetings.
Samantha Shapus, why do we need a private source to pay for swimming when we pay taxes? And someone on chat also suggested from Don Sala and Pompey Pines, if a person wanted to donate money to cover the cost of swim lessons for needy students, I think he is suggesting that as an idea.
I just remind the public that no one else, no other towns in the county except for Tully, which has a lake, offers free swimming lessons. And it's been, so I understand you pay tax, people pay taxes, we all pay taxes. But it was bad this year, trying to balance and weigh all the differing interests has been a challenge. Anything else, Veronica?
No, just one more question regarding the percentage of increase in the taxes. From Greg. Please also clarify the percent increase in town taxes. He wants to know if he's correct in saying town taxes are increasing by 8.1%.
Which works out to 19 cents on 1,000. Because the tax rate in the town is $2, was $2 and whatever. So 19 cents is quite a bit of a percentage of $2. And was it 2.79 last year, Tom?
We were at, the general and highway combined was at $2.47. It's now at $2.66 per thousand.
Yeah.
So a $100,000 house would have seen a $19 increase in their general and highway tax bills. But some of the other districts had decreases as well.
And it's easy to focus on the percentage increase. What the public should care about is how much your tax bill went up. Which is minimal, considering all that we've had to deal with this year. But I don't expect everyone to be happy about it. My tax bill went up too.
I think that's it, Renee.
Yeah.
Okay. So I would make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Carl got in there first. So all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Carried. Thanks, guys. Good job.
Thank you. Good night,
All this
everybody.
done tonight.
Thanks,
Appreciate your
everybody.
help. Okay.
Bye,
Bye,
Brenda.
everyone.
Have a good night, everyone.
Bye. Be safe, Renee
You too.
and
Bye-bye.
and Nikki.